sleep after a long day already. Can everybody hear me all right when I speak? Is that working? Is it okay? Yeah, okay. So, well, welcome. It's really great to have so many people attending this session, which is not quite the usual format. It's more about the soft skills related to photography, art, communication, and not so much about the science that we have been following the whole day. And I'm very happy to be here today. My first really virtual meeting and very excited. It's a new format, and so I'm getting used to this virtual kind of meeting, but it's not really quite the same. And I hope that next year we can all meet in Colombia or wherever and talk to each other, seeing each other. So my name is Pia Parolin. I'm hosting the session together with Biplang, who is going to introduce himself in a minute. Just a few words about myself. I am currently based in France at the INRA, the French Agronomy Institute, but my field work is in the Amazon. I'm working in Brazilian Amazonia, mainly in central Amazonia with floodplain forest ecology. And I'm talking to you from France right now. The reason why I'm setting this session up with Biplang is that I particularly have always taken photos for my scientific research to use it as documentation, for PowerPoints, for teaching. But I discovered there is so much more about photography, and I saw how important emotions and an artistic approach are once you want to really communicate something outside of our community. So I want to share these experiences with you today. But before I talk too much, I'll let Biplang take the word.
Hello, everyone. I am Biplang Yadog, and I have been interested in photography for quite some time now. But before then, around the same time, I started studying conservation biology in Nigeria. I did zoology, conservation biology. And then to further my career, I decided to do a PhD. And that was when I discovered that photography was not just an art, but a need in communicating science. And so I have tried to link up with people who are very serious about it, people like Pia. And so I won't consider myself an expert, but someone who is just learning in the process. And I'm happy to share my experience with you and also learn from you guys. So most of my study is in the tropics, as in my country, Nigeria. I've been doing forest research there. And now I am currently working in New Zealand for some time because I studied here. So before I go back, I'm just doing some work. So that's why I'm here. But my heart and everything is back in the tropics. So let's go on, Pia.
Yes, so what we intend to do today, at first I thought we would have an introduction of everybody because we wanted also this to be something like a social event and to mingle, but we are more than 55 people, and so if everybody starts introducing, then the time will be over very fast. So what we will do, I received the photos of perhaps 10-20 people. I'm not sure exactly because they kept on coming. And so I put them all in a PowerPoint. I will show these photos to you. And then the author of the photo can talk, can speak a bit about himself and about the photo, but not too long, just 2 sentences, because otherwise the time goes by so fast. And then we will analyze the photos, and in the end I will give you a maybe 15-20 minutes talk right after all the photos that we have seen already. And then we will have a discussion, questions, wrap up, and afterwards I set up a session where we can just mingle, and I called it Photos and Beer. You will find it in the WOVA, and so we can switch over to that other session and just talk and chat and whatever. Okay, so then I would set up my Now what I can't do for some reason. I can't share my screen. I don't know why. I can't do this. I've done it a million times, and here for some reason it doesn't take it.
Hi, I think the person who started the meeting should allow you in security. Yeah.
Probably that, yeah. I hope he's still there. Hello.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm
okay.
I'm trying to figure out, yeah. Can you try now, Beatrice?
Let me see. It's not going. Yeah, can you maybe upload it, because I sent it to you. Do you still have it?
Oh no.
No. So this is not very good. Let me see what I can do. What I can do. It's funny. I've done this so many times and it's just not working.
Give me a second, I have it. Yeah.
You have it?
Yeah. Can you see it?
Yes. Thank you very much. But now you have to scroll. I can't do. Is that right? Oh, that's stupid.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. I don't know why I can't share my screen. Maybe I can try. Wait a minute. Maybe I can try. I can try now.
Yeah, there you go.
Is it mine now? No, it's still on yours. Maybe can
no,
you?
It's yours.
It's mine?
This is yours. Yeah.
But it doesn't move. There's something going on with my computer. Now it's going. Okay, perfect. Sorry for this, guys. So I'm here, and we will talk about how to enhance your communication with creative photography. So as I said, we will show your photos first, and then you say just really 2-3 sentences who you are and why you have this photo. And then this short talk, some questions, and the photos and beer. Okay, I start with this photo, and I'm not sure, Alvin, are you?
Yes, I'm here. Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Alvin Helden. I'm a lecturer at Anglia Ruskin University in Cambridge in the UK. I'm an entomologist, and a lot of the photography I do is taking pictures of insect specimens, and this one is actually used in an identification guide for hawk moths in Chibale National Park in Uganda, which is freely available on the internet for anybody to download. And that's me.
Right, great. Thank you very much for sharing this photo. So what I did is I chose this photo at first because it's what we are used to. This is what we see almost every day as biologists. We see photos which are really documenting, where you can identify almost a species if you know it well. And I have 2 other photos. These are from Brenna. Brenna, are you there? Maybe she's not online yet. So she sent me these photos, which are also documenting our work, our studies. It's the way that we are used to take photos, just very clear and documenting without any emotions or any distractions. It's just there to show our work. But Brenna also sent me this photo, and I liked it a lot because this is not documenting. This is just beautiful. It's a spider web with some water inside. So it's a very beautiful photo, which is not really useful in a sense, but it's what I want to speak about today mostly. It's how to communicate more than just mere biological knowledge with our photos. And so I put on these 2 photos that Biplang sent. Will you explain them a bit?
Oh yeah. This is just like trying to capture one thing, just trying to see like the vapor coming down from the waterfall. And then you can see how bad the picture can be, showing nothing. And then in the other picture, you can see it's a bit clearer. This is even still not the finest, but I'm just trying to show, like, in this way, I'm just trying to say that, oh, it's like really gushing down and like even bringing out vapor from the pressure of the splash. Yeah.
Great. And then you sent me another 2 photos.
Yeah. So this one I took during the lockdown, just through my window. Some birds like just feeding. This is silver eye. It looks very much like the white eye that we have in tropical Africa. So this silver eye, like the first one, assuming if I send this picture to someone, it's very, very unuseful because a lot of birds may have these similar characteristics. But what you really want to see in a picture of an animal most times, like the mammals, something that has to do with their eyes, anywhere from their face. If you can get that, that would be really important. But the most important thing that I wanted to show is that this thing is actually a frugivore too. Unfortunately, I still haven't gotten that shot where it's like picking the stuff. So just looking at how small the bill is and how big this fruit is, and this kind of things is what I really wanted to communicate, but I still haven't gotten there with that one yet. So, but I mean, the bird won't stay for me to do all that I want to do. So I have to make do with the list I have. Yeah, thank you.
Right. Yes, thank you. So the next photo has been sent by Francie. Francie, are you there? Perhaps not. So she sent me 2 photos, this one and this other one. And here I wanted to start to analyze the photos a bit, because you can see the difference of these 2, which is you have the eye contact. It's really about the eye contact, as Biplang said already. It's for identification, you need the eyes, but then it's also about the animal looking at us, that touches us. And then we have this composition thing. She built up the photo in a way that it's almost this rule of thirds. Maybe you heard about the rule of thirds. It's something that is very common in arts in general. It's not linked specifically to photography, obviously. It says that if you separate a photo into 3 or a picture into 3 parts, it makes it more interesting. And you have these 2 axes, which I put in yellow here, which mean that it's, yeah, if you position your main subject on this axis, then the eye automatically is drawn to it, and it makes the photo more interesting. And another thing that I liked about this photo is that nothing is missing. The animal is complete here, even with the tail. You see down here the tail. Sometimes we cut off the tails or something, which is okay if you want a close-up. But if you take a photo, try to have the plant or the animal or the person in a way that it doesn't disturb to look at it, because something is missing. And here's a photo by Siri Abihudi. Are you there? No, some people are missing. Okay, so
sorry, I think that they're possibly there and trying to say something, but maybe they are muted automatically. That's why they are not able to do that. So I don't know if Ivan can help us. Like I don't know how it would work, but
they only need to unmute their results.
Yes. So whoever is seeing his photo, please unmute yourself, and then you can talk. And then afterwards you mute yourself again, so that we don't get noises in the discussion. So Siri Abihudi, are you there? No? Well, so he or she, I'm not sure, sent me this photo, which I thought is interesting, because what it shows is the animal, which is in clear focus, and the rest is blurred. This is already the first step that everybody who has been working with a camera is familiar with. You blur the background so that the things in the foreground are clearer. So probably he has chosen an aperture, I would say around 4, 5, because if it's too small, if the number is around 2, 2.8, then even the whole insect would not be in focus. So this is quite good. You have the insect and the plant in focus and the rest is blurred. There is something that I would change in this photo. And this is, I would have gone a bit down and looked up so that the insect and the plant would be against the blue sky and not against the bush. In the moment that everything is detached, then it's a lot clearer. You can see it better. And this makes a difference in a photo, because this way you have to figure out what is going on, and it could have been easily changed if you just went a bit further down. Then I have these photos by Virginia. Are you there, Virginia? Okay, I hope there's not something going on so that people cannot attend, because they were happy to send me their photos, but well, anyway, they can see the recording afterwards, I hope.
Excuse me, it's like they are there, but for some reason they can't
Virginia,
just say it. So, but I think they are trying to write it in the chat. Like once the photo appears, they're trying to write it in the chat.
Complicated, I'm sorry, because it's difficult for me to talk and look at the PowerPoint and read the chat.
Yeah, that's the yeah. I don't know how it is.
It is working now. Hi.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Great.
I'm a master's student studying entomology at the University of Florida, and this is the species that I'm working with. So it's invasive in Florida, little tiny ants.
So you sent me 3 pictures. I go through them right now. Oh, it's not working anymore. There it is. There's another one, and there's a third one. So I think these are really great photos of ants, which obviously are taken out of their natural environment, right? Virginia, how did you take these photos?
I set up a little white light box around them, just so it's completely white background, and then I used my macro lens with flash and got to get some good ones.
Yeah. Well, these are almost, I mean, they look like really professional photos, which are, I mean, first thing, they are really in focus. What is important, obviously, that you have the head, the antenna, the eyes in focus, and the rest of the body is blurred, which is not so interesting from a biological point of view, but very nice to look at from an artistic point of view. And this perfect white background and just a tiny little shadow, this makes the photo really, really great. So all these 3, I think they're really, really great. Obviously, it's artificial. You can tell it's not taken in the forest, and it's putting just the animal in the foreground. And this is something that sometimes can be useful. It depends on what we want to communicate. Then this can be obviously a perfect way to photograph something if you have just one thing that you want to point out. So there is Aimer Andres with 2 or 3 photos. Yeah.
Is it me? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, this is a beautiful place here in Cali, Colombia. The name is Pance. It's a river. It's an eco park close to the National Natural Park Farallones de Cali, and it's related with I began with the pandemic. To take picture with some citizens in my city. We did activities in the open areas, and we take photos. No more with the cell phone. All is with the cell phone. Yes. Okay.
So you sent several pictures. I put them. Let me see. Oh, sometimes it blocks. Okay. This is another one that you sent.
Yes, it's a butterfly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the third one, this one here. So this was also a series of really, really cool photos. I mean, these 2 insects are just perfect in their sharpness. And I like this one particularly because if you remember the other one with the insect sitting on a flower, it was with a background that was pretty, how do you say, clear. So here you have the detached animal because the background is completely blurred. So this works really well. So if you have a good lens, where you can have this blurred background, you need a good lens to do this. But if you have this, this is the best way to present an insect. Obviously, it can be really detached from a background which gets uniform by being blurred. So I really like this minimalistic effect that you cause by this and this natural environment, which is obviously a good contrast to the photos that we saw before of the ants in the white environment. Maybe you could have cropped this one photo a bit more just to have the insect better, to be seen better. I cropped it here just to see it, and it's still in focus. So you really have a good shot there. That's really great. So one thing that I thought when I saw your first photo, Aimer, is you probably use the panorama feature with an iPhone or something. I'm not sure.
Yes, I use.
Yeah, because what happens is that you cut off some things. Like in this case, you see, I symbolize the trees here. To me, I'm working with trees, so I like to see the trees in total. And here you see the nice landscape, but the trees are cut. So I think if you take a panorama shot, you can try to have the trees up there also, just my thought. But what I like here is the very homogeneous light. This is also important. Many times in the tropics, when you have the strong sunlight, we have much sun and much shadow. And these strong contrasts make that the photo is not really great in the end. And this is obviously a lot easier when the sky is overcast, so that we can see the green and are not blinded by the light, so to say. Okay, then I go to the next one. Now I have a series from Didier Deep. Didier Deep, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
So
Hi.
Photos, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm Divyadeep. I'm working in Wildlife Institute of India, and this one was taken during the initial days of my field work. And I mean, I was really fascinated during the light and the fog, how they were mingling, and the lake, how the reflections were working. This always fascinated me actually. The lights, the silhouette, always fascinated me, and somehow I really love this photograph, and because it's also from my initial the beginning of my field work, it's very special to me. It's from Sariska Tiger Reserve, Western India.
It's a very beautiful photo. It's so mysterious and all.
Yeah. It creates a mystical effect. It kind of reminds me. There was a scene I remember from Dead Poets Society. There was a scene where during the break of dawn, there was a pink hue around in front of a lake, and somehow this photo reminds me of that. So it was kind of callback of that memory. So yeah.
I go over because you sent me several pictures. Let me see. Here's another one.
Yeah, this one is also this was from the first day when I started working in Sundarban Tiger Reserve. That is the largest mangrove delta of the world. So in West Bengal, in southern West Bengal. So this was my first day, and I took this picture. I was amazed by the landscape, and also I wanted to depict the vulnerability the people face while working in such a landscape with so much perils and so much limitations they have, because the accessibility is really less.
Wonderful.
That's that.
Yeah. Sorry, I went to the too fast, but
no problem. This one is from the Sundarban. North and south of Sundarban is totally different. There's a stark difference. So when I first went to this part while camera trapping, we were sampling tiger. So we sampled around 3,000 square kilometers. So we were putting around 500 camera traps throughout the park, throughout the tiger reserve actually. So this was the part that is closer to the sea. This is actually very near to the sea, and we could see, means the sea part was the confluence of river and the sea on around this. So this part of Sundarban, which is also a mangrove, part of the mangrove, is totally different. It's kind of a beach, and the ripples that has been created, and this is one of our our field workers of forest guard who were working with us. So yeah, so this was, and this created, again, I love the minimalistic effect means I wanted to create a minimalistic effect in this photo, and that's what it is. And also the landscape, you know, the broad landscape, the vast landscape, the, you know, the endless nature of nature. So that's what I wanted to depict from this.
Right. And there is more. Let's see.
So again, this was taken in a local train. Means we used to commute to, Sundarban, near Sundarban Tiger Reserve. The last train station. It was the last train station which we used to take from Calcutta, means the main city, to this. And during this time, there were daily passengers. These are the people who live around this place, live closer to Sundarban, and yeah. So this somehow this was. I wanted to depict the affection, and at the same time, he's tired but holding his, clutching his baby, and also having the water and the popcorn for him all together. This was a blast of emotion and a whole cocktail of emotion for me. So that's why I took this.
Really nice. Here's another one.
So this one was a very chance encounter. I couldn't believe I got this shot. So this was again in Sariska Tiger Reserve, and this was during the end of my field work back in 2016. So this was a very stormy day, and I love black and white. I have this, I'm really crazy about, I told you, silhouette and monochrome. So I was taking particularly this one with in monochrome mode in my camera. So I was taking pictures of random trees, and this particular peafowl. Sariska Tiger Reserve has one of the highest densities of peafowl in the country. So this particular peafowl was sitting on the tree, and this dead snag actually, and it was moving like anything. And I don't know how I got this. When I was taking the photographs, I saw this one, and I was like, what?
Perfect. And then there's this one here. It's also yours.
Yeah, this one, this was taken again, the initial part of my fieldwork. This is one of the two plateaus of Sariska Tiger Reserve. Again, this tree, I was in love with this tree. I don't know why, but somehow it represented hope for me. And this is a representation of hope in a semi-arid landscape where everything gets dried up. Almost everything gets dried up during summer, and this remnants of the leaf. This is kind of the end of summer actually, and the monsoon started beginning, and the leaves started coming, and somehow this whole thing, the contrast behind it. I love this. I love the tree actually. I was focusing on the tree. That's why, yeah.
Yes, and the photo says this. And in fact, I chose this photo to speak about the composition, because I just said that it's interesting to have the photo divided in three. But in this case, it's divided, you have the main subject is right in the middle. So that works really well sometimes, but it could have worked also if you put it differently. So it's always a question to decide what you want to say with a photo, but to put it really in the middle. It's like a colleague of mine, a photographer from Berlin, he says, if it's a church, you put it in the middle. So if your tree is something really important, or your animal, then it's right in the middle. If it's more a beautiful composition where you have the animal in the forest, you can go for the third rule, and this is making it more harmonious. So I have this photo also, and it's from Claver. Claver, are you there?
Hello, Pia.
Hey, hi. You sent me 3 photos and I put them here. So do you want to tell us a bit about it?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And I just want to say, like, very meaningful. Yeah. And this photo, I I want just apologize first for being, as maybe you started with introduction. I am an ecologist working with freshwater, and so doing research in especially macroinvertebrate in lakes and rivers. So this picture, I took it on a field work day. I was sampling macroinvertebrates and physical chemical parameters for my research project. And I saw this woman who was going through this river. This river is called the Moha. Is like the Lake Tanganyika shore is at about like 200 meters away from the woman. So this woman was going to the river, to the lake shore to meet the fishermen who sell the fish, the fish after they take them from the lake, and she buy them and she go to retail at the market in the city. Yeah. So what I saw interesting in this photo was the way these ecosystems are providing ecosystem services, this river and the lake, and the way they are important for the community and for the city, because this is near Bujumbura in Burundi, and also at the gender point of view, this is important. It shows the role of the women in the sustaining families, sustaining families. And you see the woman is carrying a baby on her back and a bucket on her head. And so it's very hard. Women in Burundi, they are working very hard to make their families and especially their children get educated and nourished, so that they can grow up and become those men and women who are advancing the country. So this is what I saw very important in this picture.
That's great. It's working really well. And I think what I really like is you have several people on different layers. So you have the woman, which is really in the foreground, almost on this third line. I always take this idea back. But then on the right, you have another two women, and behind you have a man, and they are not covering each other. So it makes the whole story. And I think this photo is really, really good, and it's explaining exactly what you want to say. You can watch out for your shadow the next time. Maybe you can even crop the photo. It's not disturbing very much, but you can just cut it off down there. Okay, the next one is by Mary Lee. I have your pictures. They come later. Sorry, you have to come back and talk more. I put them in a different context. We'll see why.
No problem.
Mary Lee?
Hi, hello, Fural. I am biologist. I'm from Colombia, Universidad Nacional. In this moment, I'm a professor or assistant instructor. And I have this photo because I teach about the interaction between plants and other elements. And this photo is the Páramo. It's a unique ecosystem in Latin America, and I love it, the Páramo.
Yeah, very nice picture. Again, the foreground is really good in focus. It's good, well lighted. The background is not in focus, which makes it stand out more. So this is really nice. And it's again what I said before. If it's a church, it's in the middle. So here's your plant that you're focusing on. So it works really well. There is one thing that is really something that I see at once. The horizon is if you do it on purpose, it's fine. You can tilt the photos, but if it's not on purpose, then you better put it right. And the water line is what tells you where the horizon is. So either you tilt it on purpose, or you can even exaggerate it. It's a way of expressing things also. So yes, so now I'm here. That now I have a photo by Megan Sullivan. Megan, are you there?
Hi, I'm here.
Sorry.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Hello, yes. Can you tell us a bit about your photo?
Yeah, so this photo is of seeds that are germinating from elephant dung. And so I work in a logging concession in Gabon, and there's lots of elephants and animals that walk on the roads. And so this is at the sides of one of the roads, and I thought it showed a good representation of regeneration that is happening in a logged forest, because most people think of, you know, all the damage and the destruction that's done. So I thought it was a nice, different perspective.
Great. Okay, well, I analyzed your photo a bit into detail because I think it's interesting. First thing, everything is in focus, so it's a nice overview. You can see the dung, you can see the seedling. You have almost the third thing, so your seedling could have been there, but I mean, I stopped talking about this rule of thirds now. It's not so important in the end. What I was thinking, you look at your seedling from above, like we walk through the forest and we look at it, everybody looks from this. So everybody that looks at your photo is familiar with it because we all see it like this. But if you went down, like if you went on your knees and you get more into the seedling's perspective, yeah, then with your camera you get something which is a bit more than, a bit unusual. So it's not the everyday perspective. So this is something that really can bring this seedling with the dung into a different context if you just go down, or even lower, you know, like lying in the mud and taking it from below. Then you have a perspective a bit like this. You see, this is a mushroom that I took in a forest here in Europe. But if you go on the same height of your seedling, for example, or of the dung, then it makes it stand out even more. So this is just a suggestion for if you want to take photos of seedlings. So then we have this photo by Emmanuel. Emmanuel, are you there? Maybe not. It's not sure if he's writing the text. No. Okay. I chose his photo also for oh my God. Now something happened. Let me see. I chose Emmanuel's photo because for some reason I left the screen. You don't see it anymore, right?
No.
Where's your audio?
Ivan, are you still there? Can you help me to come back?
Yeah, I'm here, but you can just click on share screen. Try
Yes,
it.
that's what I'm trying, but.
Nice. I'm going to get you a drink. What can I do?
That's not working. It's strange. I don't know why.
Yes, please.
I don't know why I can't share this anymore. Let me see. Maybe now. Okay, I think it's working now. Yes. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry for this. So I chose this photo also because it shows again, it's a good lighting, nice colors, it's a good focal depth, and the composition. You see this rule of thirds. I'm back to the rule of thirds though. It works also in this way. You have, it makes the photo more interesting if you have these rules in your head while you take photos. And another photo is this one. It's again by Megan. Megan, are you still there?
Hi. Yeah. So this photo is of an elephant trail in a forest. So it's kind of like a bit subtle, but in that sort of the right, just to the right of like the halfway, like going towards the tree, there's not like many seedlings on the ground, and you can see it's kind of open, like in the, like where your knees to chest would be, where you would walk. And so that's an elephant path through the forest. And I thought that was something interesting to capture in the photo, because they are really subtle, but I think it does affect the forest structure of how the forest is. And so there's been some really interesting studies coming out about that, and I wanted to capture what the elephant trails look like in a photo in person. So
yeah, well, thank you. And I think it works well. You could have gone, like with the other photo, could have gone down on your knees so that you are really inside the trail, and with a wide angle, in case you have one, or with your cell phone, you could have done this. You grab this path in a way that you really see it's a path in the middle. You know, if you just get down, because we are really used, everybody just takes photos standing up, and that's what we always see. But if you change the perspective and go down, it changes the whole photo, and the impression will be much stronger of this path that we can see here. But I chose your photo also because it's well lit. So that's again something, if you have light spots and shadows, most of us take photos of a forest, and I'm sure you agree that it's pretty difficult to make a nice photo of a forest, of a dense forest. It's not so easy. So what I think you can keep in mind if you try to take a photo of a forest the next time. I mean, I'm not speaking about the path here, I'm just speaking about the forest. Think about layers. Things get more interesting if you have a foreground, something in the middle, and a background. And here, obviously, you have stems somewhere, but there is no real construction. So, for example, if you have a big tree, these are photos that I took somewhere, you can have the big tree a bit more in the foreground and the rest a bit more behind. Or like here, you can have a typical vine or a liana or something in the foreground, or you can even make it stronger like this here in the temperate forest, where you have the tree in focus and the rest is blurred. So it's not really not easy if you stand in the middle of a forest to make an interesting picture, but you can try to play with these different layers. You can also try to play again with a different perspective, like looking up or getting down on your knees. And well, this is a bit extreme, obviously, or like this, you know, you can play around. It's not so scientific, but it makes a nice picture. And if you show it to your students, I'm sure they will appreciate if they see a tree from this perspective, just for a change. And another thing that I wanted to say is try to see the light and use it. When you're in the forest, we often have these light spots which fall on the ground, and they can be very, very useful for nice pictures. Like this fern is growing in one of these light spots, and the rest of the forest behind is dark, so it stands out. And when you walk through the forest and you look for these lit places and you take photos, that's something that is really rewarding and works very well. You can do it in a forest. It's perhaps easier in a light forest like these in the temperate zone. But try to play with light and shadow with your camera. It's something really, really nice, and it can be even more extreme. And in this case, I used a little thing that everybody has on a camera. Once you have a DSLR camera, you have this little thing up there. Maybe you use it sometimes. If you put your camera on -1 or -2 with this thing that almost every camera has, then you pronounce the dark, so the contrast will be a lot stronger. And this is the effect that I have used. This is what I have used to get this effect in this photo. So it's really easy, and you can apply it with almost every camera, not with the cell phones, obviously. Then I just wanted to suggest play around. I mean, when you take a photo in the forest, maybe of your colleagues or something, you can put it on a, if you have a tripod, you put it on a tripod, or you just put it on on a stone or on the ground, and you press the shutter, and then you have something blurred and the rest is in focus. Just to use your camera more creatively can be fun for yourself and also nice for your students or for your colleagues when you show them the photos of your study sites, for example. And then obviously you can do this to the extremes. Here, this is something pretty easy also. If you have a DSLR camera with a zoom, what you do, you focus on the tree in the middle there, and then you put your camera on a rather slow shutter speed, like 1/10 of a second, for example, and then you turn the zoom. You have to practice a bit because it has to turn in a very smooth way. But if you do this with the right lighting, with the right shutter speed, then it gives this effect. It's pretty easy, and it's a lot of fun to just play around. This is another way of playing around with your camera. Again, you put your camera on a slow shutter speed, like 1/10 or 1/20th, depending on the light that you have, and then you tilt your camera. You just tilt it like this. But you have to do it in a smooth and regular way. And then you will probably need to practice a bit, but after a while you will have this effect. And if you can work this a bit more, and afterwards it looks like a painting of some impressionist painter or something. You can have nice things to play around with. So here's a photo now. That's by Mark Thomas. Mark, are you there?
Hello, hiya. Yeah, so I work in the Peruvian rainforest, and we were on an expedition into the Manu National Park, where we saw endangered animals. We bumped into like a jaguar, like this really cool biodiversity. And then on our way home, we saw this, which is just outside the national park. So we kind of had this like juxtaposition of like emotions kind of going on, because we just on the one hand seen this kind of like amazing beauty, and then literally yeah, like, you know, 20-30 minutes outside the national park, we kind of saw this kind of going on. So yeah, it was super emotional for all of us, kind of having that, yeah, amazing biodiversity coupled with this.
Yeah, thank you. I choose this photo because, first of all, because of the composition again. This time you cut the photo in half. The foreground is water, and the background is the forest and the destruction. This is something nice. It looks harmonious through this. If you want to put the focus more on the destruction, obviously, I mean, you were sitting in a boat, so you couldn't just walk up to this caterpillar. But the best thing would have been to get closer to the caterpillar. If you want to really document this, you stop there, you go and put the caterpillar really big in front of your camera, maybe to the right or to the left angle, and so that you see the rest. So that makes an impressive photography. But this is working also. It's really nice. Okay, and the next one is Marcelo Cubo. Marcelo, você está?
Yeah, hi. I'm Marcelo from Brazil. I'm a botanist. And this picture was taken while doing some field work in Northeast Brazil. So we just wanted to show the whole countryside and the vastness of the Caatinga. So yeah, that's it.
Mm-hmm. And then you sent this photo also.
Yeah, this one was for preparing a class to undergrads. So we want to show more or less the cycle of fruit maturation. So it was more like a one photo to kind of show how ovaries turn into fruits. So just a cycle.
Yeah, it's cool because it really shows the whole cycle live right there. It's really good.
Yeah, and we have to work with fruits in our garden, so that was what was available to us. Yeah.
Good idea. Okay, thank you. So these were most of the photos. There are still some to come, but most of the photos that you sent me. I'm going to give you a bit of input now about communication through photography for 10 to 15 minutes. So what is communication? That's the first question. Because we as scientists, we measure, we analyze, we discover, we think, we find out, and we also want people to know. And obviously, and I always find it really difficult to find this equilibrium between our scientific explanations and the understanding that we want to transmit. It's not always congruent. So we really have to think about what are our scientific explanations and do the people really understand what we want to tell them? And obviously it's easy when we are with people who have our same background, who have our interests. Like here, this was at the Bonito meeting in 2012, we were the gender committee. The people in this room, we all have, I'm not saying a similar background, but to a certain extent, we are filtered to be here together. So if someone speaks, we most likely understand what she or he is saying. This is not always the case. Like here, I'm with a bunch of girls in the middle of the Amazon, and about 3 hours boat ride from Manaus. So these are ready to go to school. They're waiting for the school boat, which takes them not to Manaus, but to some other little village a bit further upstream. And I am working in these floodplains. When I do my studies with ecophysiological measurements and photosynthesis and water cycles and carbon cycles, there's no way to just tell them what I'm doing. I mean, I really have to change my language. And the same way that I change my language with words, it's also with photos. We have to think about what we communicate, because we as scientists, we find it natural that an animal has to be clearly shown. But pictures can say so much more. And we should use this for our communication. It's not only to tell people, look, this animal looks like this, or this flower looks like that. Pictures are really important in communicating. We have seen this at the meeting in Merida. We had these wonderful pictures that was at the icebreaker, I think, or something, or at the conference dinner. And yes, pictures, we all know this, they are really important. And we know this particularly because we are flooded by pictures every day. We see them everywhere. And I'm not going into detail here. How do pictures speak? That's a whole talk on its own. But we all know how strongly we are influenced by advertisements with photos. So yeah, it's obvious that pictures do speak. And we have to be aware of the language that we want to employ as scientists when we use our photos. So my focus here now is, how can we be more creative in photography? And with creativity, I already showed you some pictures where I played around with my camera, but I also mean we have to be maybe sometimes less scientific and more emotional. Like this picture, that's also an ATBC meeting in Kuching, where we went to a post-conference tour. This is a very scientific photo. There's no emotion here. It's factual, it's non-emotional, it's clear, it's unambiguous. That's the way we take photos, usually, most of us. So if we want to communicate something, even this one here, it's a nice picture. It's a Puya Raimundi up on in the Andes in Peru. It's a beautiful flower and bird. All the bird pollination scientists here, they will be happy with a photo like this. And it can work, but I think that something like this is missing in our language. A photo that does not say anything scientifically. I couldn't even say what genus this flower is, but it's a nice picture. I'm not sure if you agree, but to me it's a nice picture. It looks nice, it looks mysterious, it looks I want to know more about it when I look at it. And so it's also about transmitting the passion that we have, the passion to observe, the passion to admire, the passion to preserve and to protect. And these are things that we do not necessarily transmit only with scientific photos or with scientific language. We can communicate better. We can touch people if we allow some feelings in our photos, because people are touched by these emotions transported by a photo. So I think we could be more efficient as scientists to transmit our messages if we had photos that are a bit more appealing to, calling to feelings. So the suggestion for photography would be, try to learn to be less scientific and precise, a bit more poetic, and then learn to visualize the feelings. That's not so easy, at least it was not for me. I became aware of this and I tried to really get more feelings into my photography, but it was a process. It was not right there, because I was trained to look and to document as a scientist for 30 years. So it's a very quadrant square view that I have. And it's important to focus on what is your idea, what exactly do you want to communicate, but then don't just communicate the fact. Try to understand, how does this feel, this thing that I want to communicate, and then try to visualize this feeling. It's difficult. It's something you have to learn, but I think it's possible if you focus on the question, what do I really want to communicate with my photography, and how does this feel, what I want to communicate, then I think it can work. There are some things that you can do to get more feelings into your photography. Like, for example, you can read some poems that are called haiku poems. It's a Japanese form of very short poems, which are always linked to nature. And there is even something like haiku photography. I'm not going into detail here because it will take an hour to explain. But there are possibilities to take photos which are really emotional, and they are things of nature which you can transmit. You can put a statement inside such a photo, and then people, I'm sure that they understand what you mean if you say nature is beautiful or something. And another thing that we have to learn is learn to think out of the box. I mean, just this thing, get down on your knees to take a photo or take a different perspective, and also get ideas from other disciplines. You can read a book about philosophy, about whatever, mathematics, well, it's still science, or about history, whatever. Try to get other elements into your brain and bring them together to be more creative in photography and in communication of science. You can read books, you can look at photos that are used professionally, like Greenpeace, for example. They are really good at communicating with their photos. I'm sure you all have in mind the photo of some animal, and look at these photos really in detail, and look at how they are constructed and how they use the communication system that a photo can transmit by their composition and by the way they put something in the foreground and something in the background. And look at this picture here. You have really, I mean, you're almost touching this woman with this animal. It's really there. It's not just standing somewhere. So you're really close, and this makes this photo emotional. That's why people say, "Oh, that's such a nice orangutan," you know. And it's really about how you take the picture that you share this communication. Or like this one here, it's taken from below. It's Javier Bardem being in the middle of this, but it's well done, this photo. You see his head. It's not somewhere cut with a skyscraper behind. It's right in the middle with the sky, and it's well composed. So we look at this photo, and we say, oh, there's something going on here. But it's because this photo is really speaking to us. It's the composition, it's the colors, it's an energy that is transmitted, and the emotions that are transmitted. So this is something that you can do on your own. Try to analyze photos that are working, that are used in the ads. And yes, go to museums, look at the paintings, at photos of the masters. They will really stay in your brain. And the next time you go out with your camera, you will have these pictures in your head, and you will maybe automatically take something similar. Or you can also just play around. I like to take photos in museums because there are always funny situations happening there. Another thing in the photos that you take, less is more. So try to keep it simple and easy rather than building things that are too complex. I said it's important to have several layers, so a foreground, a background. That makes a photo more interesting, but don't exaggerate. Don't put too much in it. So if it's less, then it's better. Like this one, you see, I wanted to take a photo of the guy with the bubbles. This is in Cologne, just someone who earns his money with this. And I was figuring out how to do this because there were hundreds of people standing around. And if I had taken my photo like this, I would have had his head with 100 other heads. But since I kneeled down and I went up to the blue sky, and then I saw the lamp, which has some kind of reference to these bubbles, then it makes it a nice photo, I think. And here I come back to Virginia. That's why I have your photos here, because you have this minimalistic approach also. You take out everything else. It's just the head of the ant. It's not even the whole ant. It's just its head, and it makes it so beautiful. Now I come back also to Claver. Here are your other two photos that you sent. Remember, Claver already showed us the photo with the woman with the pin on her head and the baby on the back. Claver, are you back there? Maybe it's not working. Okay, Claver is perhaps not there anymore, but I like this photo because he wanted to show obviously the plastic garbage in the rivers. He said he was working with freshwater, so this is obviously a picture that shows us what's going on here. I still have a problem with the horizon. Really try to keep the horizons horizontal. Here it's a bit tilted, just a little bit, but it makes the photo more interesting or nicer if the horizon is straight. And here's another one by Claver, which is pretty good because you see the bottles really in the foreground. So he kneeled down, he's really close to them. Are you there, Claver? Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Hello?
Yes, now we can hear you.
All right. Hello? Hello?
Yes, we hear you. You can talk.
Okay. Thank you. So these are pictures that I took at Lake Tanganyika. Yeah, it is in the framework of my research project on the pollution of the rivers that are crossing Bujumbura city and that are tributaries to this lake. So I wanted to show the pollution from the lake. Yeah, and the plastic pollution is very high at this place, and here we are at the shore of the lake and near the city, and it's near one river's mouth, and we have a very high concentration of plastic, especially bottles.
Yes, and you documented this really well. I like the approach that you went really close to the bottles and you see the water right behind, so you can figure out exactly what is going on here. Again, the horizon is a bit tilted. You can try to keep it straight or correct it afterwards, but it's a good picture because it tells what happens. It's a bit blurred out with the light behind. That's always a difficulty if you want the foreground to be light, the background wants to be blurred out. So that's something that you learn over time. I'm not here to discuss this now, but you can try to take the photo in a way that the background is a bit more visible. But for the rest, it's a good picture. It works. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I put these two pictures in the end because I have a project myself where I work with plastic, and I just wanted to share this with you because it's a way of bringing, in a way, scientific knowledge or our conservation issues together with some artistic or conceptual photography. So what I did, I went to the beach. This is on the sea, actually. It's in the Mediterranean, and I found these little plastic things. The sea around the French Mediterranean is pretty clean. They clean it up, but you find these little things here and there. And what I did, I started to photograph them a bit like Claver just did. I kneeled down and I took them from close with the sea behind. once I tried it with everything in focus or with everything else blurred. So there are different approaches to do this. And then I played around with people also, but yeah, I mean, I didn't know, I just tried different things. And then I came across a book, which is by a photographer named Andy Hughes, who apparently is even quite well known. And he has this book, Dominant Wave Theory, where he did exactly this. So it's an old book, it's 20 years old, I guess. So he photographed these things on the beach, used a flash so that they're really in the foreground and really colorful in there. So I like this approach, but I didn't want to copy it and do the same. So I thought, how can I speak about plastic in the water without just repeating what I have seen before? So I had the idea to put the plastic items that I found. I cleaned them, I brought them back home, I cleaned them, and I put them on a very colorful background. I'm sorry here, I know that there are some people who are red blind, have problems with red and green, but this is for people who see colors, this is really working well. And so I had this whole series of plastic items and really colorful background. And in fact, it went to an exposition, and it's out there, and people who are not biologists, they come and they see it and they say, oh, this is nice, these plastic things, but then they start to question, and then they ask me questions, what's it all about with this plastic stuff? And then I can start talking, because they got the attention already. If I go there and I say, you know, we are using a lot of plastic and blah, 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 then they would not be interested to listen to me probably. But they come to this exposition, they see these colorful photos, and then they ask, why did you take these pictures? What do they mean? And then I can explain everything about pollution of plastic in the water, which gets washed down to the ocean and form this plastic continent. So that's just one approach how you can use photography to express something, but in a positive way. I didn't want to show the rubbish and the dust and the dirt and the bad feelings that go with it. I wanted to show the beauty, like, almost like in an advertisement, so that the people really look at it and then they ask themselves questions. So yeah, so that's all that I wanted to tell you. So try it out, play around, and don't be afraid to just really play like a child. It's the best thing you can do, and then you will have pictures that people will be interested in, and they will ask you questions. And before I close this presentation, I wanted to talk with you who are listening here about the photo thematic section, which Lucia and others brought up. We had this idea to have a photo thematic section, which will take place regularly in form of a talk or in form of a real group meeting up at the next meetings. So the goals could be to promote the communication and the collaboration on topics of interest to the membership. We can share photos inside the community, which are useful for talks, for courses, so that we have photos of other people that we share. Obviously only for members. That's not something that is going to everybody. We can learn more about photography skills and how to use this for communication. We can improve awareness for the beauty of nature and for conservation, and how to use photography to communicate this. We can improve our own creativity, which goes beyond the work in the life of a scientist, but on a lighter level, not purely academic. And we can also use this group, obviously, for networking and meet other people by doing creative things together, and find a moment to relax, maybe at a conference where we do things together. The idea could be, for example, to set up an ATBC photo pool where people put their pictures, which are then available to the members, like a photo bank. We can work on learning photography with discussions, critiques of photos, a bit like we did today. We can set up workshops of photo, video, drones, whatever, training. We can also focus obviously on fieldwork and documentation and conservation communication. And we can have, for example, contests and exhibitions at the meetings, or virtual exhibitions through the website. We can also have social activities at the meetings where we make just a photo walk together in a forest or in a city, why not? We can have discussion groups, visit exhibitions, make guided museum tours, or network with local artists who are active in conservation, for example. And we can also think about projects that we do together to promote conservation communication, artistic projects or something else. So let's stay in contact, and those who are not members yet, become members so that you have access to all of this. And yeah, please ask questions. We have all the time that you want now in the session, and then afterwards we meet at the photos and beer chill out session right afterwards. And if you have questions later on, you can write me an email, whatever. I'm happy to communicate about photography and communication. Thank you. Oops. So actually, I could read in the chat. I'm not sure if this is feasible, but I really prefer not to read the chat and instead have people ask questions. I'm not sure if we can just do this, that whoever wants to speak unmutes his microphone or her microphone and talks. Perhaps it can work instead of reading, and let's just communicate. What do you think?
Yeah. I think it's a great idea. Sorry, just before we go forward, I just tried to drop like the take-home message in the chat just now while people ask their questions. But one thing again that Pia may have forgotten to say is that the tripods can be very, very useful, especially if you want it to be really still and you know how she wants backgrounds to be still and then the object to be moving, or the object to be still and backgrounds moving and things like that. The tripod, having a tripod really helps because you can't really trust your hands, even no matter how stable you are, but the tripod does a lot of help. Yeah, it's question time now.
Hi, would you all mind if I asked a question? Emilio here.
Sure.
Can I start by telling you the same thing, that since Pia doesn't bother reading the chat, she hasn't read how much people enjoyed the session, how great it was, all the fabulous feedback. You know, the chat is communication, Pia, okay? You know,
but
so
I mean, I have a hard time to read and talk and
no, I'm with you. Some of us have to take 70 milligrams a day to deal with all the, you know, crosstalk in our brain. So I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. Hey, so I will then take advantage of that opportunity and just repeat it. Really, the comments here are just that it's fantastic, and it really has been. And so thank you both for this. I had a quick question that I posted because I had to arrive a little bit late, and that was about filters. And I don't know if that was something you discussed already. You discussed tripods. Here's my little favorite. You know, these little tiny Gorilla tripods are incredibly useful. This is the brand, I think it is, Gorilla tripods. And but I was wondering if you could talk about filters, because I feel like for a lot of my pictures, you know, the difference between something that I work and is really nicely composed and looks really good and that would look great is whether the sky is washed out or that beautiful deep blue, like of Pia's bubble blower. And, you know, and any suggestions on either inexpensive approaches or practicing, or can we correct in post, you know, that kind of stuff?
Yes, well, actually, it's I spared out everything that is technical, with very few exceptions, because I wanted to speak more about really communication and feelings and blah blah, the artistic part, let's say. So obviously, the technical part is very important, but yes. So as Biplang already said, a tripod is really useful, and the filters, they can be very useful. And obviously, you have to think what you want. If you are somewhere in the deep forest and you have to carry around all your gear and you have to put on the filter and then it falls down, and I try to work with a little camera which is waterproof, and I hardly ever use filters. I sometimes use a tripod, but usually I don't even use a tripod. I put my camera somewhere on whatever I find, and then I put the 3-second release. So that works perfectly well. That's my approach, because I work in Amazonia, and if I lost 3 or 4 cameras because of humidity. That's just what happens. You can be very careful, but you will still have humidity everywhere. So the more complex your camera and you start working with filters, the more problems you have. That's what I find. But you're right, filters can be wonderful if you use them to have a nice green, deep green, or if you have the the separation of a light background and a dark foreground or whatever, then filters can be really useful. I can talk for half an hour now. I'm not going into detail with filters. You can, however.
You can't talk for half an hour because Roxana has a question too. So she raised her hand. So I want to make sure that she gets a chance to ask her question too.
Yeah.
You can still tell me if you have suggestions later. Maybe we can post them in the session in the question and answer for your session or something, or maybe if people has suggestions as well for filters, or whether there are alternatives to using them that will spare us having to carry them around. I'd love to hear.
Well, you can do a lot of things in post-production also. There are so many programs which are not even very expensive, or some are not expensive at all. So you can do a lot of things afterwards, but obviously once your photo is too light, then things are too late. So as a rule, try to always have a picture that is too dark, because if it's too light, you lose, the pixels are just gone. You cannot take them back. But if it's too dark, you can lighten up the photo, and the pixels are still have the information, so you can get the things in your photo back. But you can't get them back if it's blurred out. That's just as a general rule. Yeah. Sorry, Roxana, you wanted to speak.
Yeah, no, great. It's great to have contacts to advise us about the tools as well. Like recently, I was observing there was a bunch of photographers at this biological station, but there was one that struck me a little bit, and I didn't see in these examples, but I'm sure they're out there. But it was this interest about portraying both the study subject, like say a wolf spider, but also the context. And in that scenario, the image was like, you had in the closer to you the view of this spider in one banana leaf. And then in the background, you can see and you can tell the banana plantation, but also somebody else, and I was surprised to hear him saying that the message was to share this encounter between wildlife, being these spiders, and the settlements. We human beings, they are so close to us. Same with tarantulas. The guy, the tarantula, it's in a hole, and they take it out, but it's in a field. And so the photographer is looking around for how to portray that the house is in the background. And then he made somebody which usually walks by that place, with their classic rubber boots. And the frame of the picture has the tarantula on a little mount and these rubber boots in the back. So I totally agree with the power that this photography has. That was one comment. The other one was about the art in a picture, and I think it's great, but it still depends on what you want to communicate. I have to share that sometimes I have seen pictures trying to illustrate trafficking of wildlife, but the macaw looks so beautiful, and or the ocelot still look cute, and that really the message of stop it, don't do it, this is awful, there is suffering, didn't convey. So it's tricky, it's tricky because, as you said, we are all emotional, and if something doesn't shake us, then we don't mind really.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, that's also what I wanted to say when I said you have to think of what is my message and how can I really convey it. Obviously, if you want to speak about illegal trafficking and you show a beautiful, nice animal in the wild, then it doesn't convey it. But if you see the cage behind it, or if you see something that you understand.
It is tough though, because even inside the cage, because of the colors and like that, it still looks beautiful.
Yes, but
you know,
then you have to construct the photo in a way that
exactly.
without
Because then the alternative, there is, sorry that I interrupt you, but there is, I mean, the process, as you were searching for your images, these animals, the first problem is how they are transported out from their wildlife. And usually if they are smaller, they are put into plastic bottles, and, you know, and they are, many of them put in the same cage. So those are the images perhaps that will be more shocking than a nice one in a cage.
If you want to accuse this trafficking, then you have to choose your language. You will not have something poetic or something. You will need to find a way to put your picture that it speaks without that you use words. That's difficult, but that's a good picture if you don't need words to explain things. Because then someone looks at the photo and understands, like the one with the plastic bottles, that you see the plastic bottles and you see the river and you understand there's something that is not correct here. Everybody, every school kid understands this without a word. So that's the way that we have to use photography, but we can also use it, and that's what I'm advocating here. We can also use it in a positive way. We're always, I mean, we shouldn't always be just accusing and showing the negative part. That's why I showed you the plastic photos of this series that I made on the beach. Did not want to be there, you know, the same old ecologist with a raised finger. I wanted to communicate in a positive way, so that people get interested in the first place. Because otherwise, they look at the photo and they say, "Ah, same old accusation again," and they don't even pose a question. But if they look at the photo and they don't understand exactly why is this so beautiful now, it's plastic waste, so then they start to think. And I think this is a thought that you can apply at everything, at conservation, at the big scale. We have to find a way of communicating, yes, through emotions, but also not so much with words, but with the right kind of picture that communicates. And it's tricky, but once you start to be aware of it, then you're already on the good road. I mean, sometimes we just take pictures and we think that everybody understands what we want to say with our pictures, but they don't necessarily see what we as scientists see.
Yeah, and the challenge is for authorities. I was mentioning because these pictures were delivered by authorities that were aiming to decrease the wildlife trafficking. And so maybe they need a workshop with you, you know, decision makers.
Yes. So who has questions? I can go through the chat here.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Adriana here. So I have a question. Well, first of all, Pia, thank you very much to you and Biplan for organizing this. It was great. I learned a lot in such a very short period amount of time. So my question was more like about if you have any comments on cell phones, right? So because I know that, of course, like, you know, you've been talking about having a good camera and all that stuff, but now we all have cell phones. And so maybe you can comment on how we can take advantage of using our cell phones also to take pictures, and that can, be useful for our communication in academia and outside academia.
Yes, I can talk about this. Maybe Biplan, I've been talking so much. Don't you want to say your opinion also?
Oh, my opinion?
No, yes, yours also, but I thought, Biplan, maybe, do you want to say something? Because I keep on talking and talking. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
No, I think actually it's not a problem if you keep talking, because you are the far better expert here. So I think it's even wiser for us to listen to you. But when you're talking about, did you ask about the camera phones, like what you feel about it, Adrian?
Yeah, so, or in general, you know, if you have any suggestions or comments on how to use it. And, you know, I guess that I feel now that, you know, 10 years ago, probably a cell phone didn't have the cameras, or now you can get a phone with a very powerful camera that, you know, can have very good resolution even for micro photography, like that. So how can we take advantage of that tools that we have available for the purposes?
You're completely right. And somebody asked a question about what cameras do we really need? What cameras do we recommend? But I said, for most camera companies, they've come a long way. They have advanced, and most of the cameras are quite good in the way they are. So I think the most important thing is about the person taking the photo. And that was why we did this session, because we just want people to actually think about what they want to, the information they really want to communicate. What do they really want others to understand through their photos? So in that way, you will notice that it's got very little to do with the type of the camera. But any basic camera, even an old camera that uses like this film and the camera from the 80s, I've used one like that before that's older than I am. And it really it saw pictures that people with advanced digital cameras didn't. So it's not about how perfect or complex your camera is. That one in your camera phone, the cameras in your mobile phone, they are very, very good. You can't underestimate. Some of them have become really powerful, even more than the wide angle lens cameras. So I think one of the ways you can take advantage, look at the basic things that you said, which we have also put here in the take-home message, if you read the chat somewhere. It's about when you think about all the rules in basic photography, like 2/3 and the rule of thirds, and looking at the lighting and thinking about the subject, you can do all those things, I think, with your mobile camera phone. So I think you use it. For me, when I'm going to the field, sometimes I feel like I have to carry cages and a lot of other things. Having a camera can be like a bigger camera can be an additional weight. But my mobile phone does a lot for me, and sometimes it can be impulsive. You didn't prepare to see the thing, and then there it is. So having something very handy like that that's can help you to take that photo and make your communication. So you really don't have to always have a powerful camera with you. The mobile phones are as good. Just thinking about yourself as an artist and how the information you need to communicate with that camera. So use it. I think it's powerful. I do.
Yes, I fully agree. It's, I mean, the value that almost everybody has his cell phone in the hands all the time. I mean, you can take photos which are really like spontaneous right away. And nowadays, the quality is really good. You can make so many things. So I think there is nothing that speaks against using cell phones for photos. Obviously, if you want a really good macro photo of an insect, then you might want to use another camera, but sometimes it's not available. And then, I mean, the cell phone is really something that is really good to use. And you have so many possibilities to work the photos afterwards on your cell phone also. And that's also something that you can use. You know, if you have a photo that is too dark, you just use 1 or 2 apps and poof, it's in a perfect shape. And why not use it? I mean, it's really a good thing. There was Didier Deep who raised the hand.
Yeah, I just wanted to add what Deeplan and you were saying. Like, I think it's cell phone comes in really handy, especially for field biologists, because carrying a DSLR setup with you in a very rugged landscape, it's kind of cumbersome. So whenever you come across anything interesting, you can take out your cell phone and have a snap, especially when it comes to landscape. Of course, in case of documentation or anything of, as you were saying, any specialist photography, be it macro, be it documentation of any kind, in that case, the DSLR comes in handy. But in most of the cases where when your intention is to communicate, I guess cell phones comes in really handy. Like even for, whenever I see outside my window, I see a very good, very good formation of clouds, or the landscape around. So I can have a wide, most of the phones comes with a very wide angle cameras now. So that is really helpful, I guess. So yeah, thank you for those inputs. That's all I have to say.
Someone else who has some questions or remarks? Well, if we don't have any questions, I don't know, is there still something, a wrap up or something that we should do, or I think it would be repetitive now, huh? What do you think, Biflang?
I think, yeah, it would be a little bit repetitive, but perhaps it's just going forward. All those that have taken time to attend, we are very, very grateful, because it's good to try to think about something and have people to share that vision with you. But we want to keep this going. So perhaps like on that, this on the group of the Hoover chat, maybe you can just oh, well, how do we get the contacts for people and then continue from here?
Well, it can be directly through ATBC. I mean, we can set up this photo thematic section, which Lucia had suggested in the first place. I'm sure that we can get a group together, and it will be an official group, and then we will communicate through the ATBC website. But then there's also the direct contact with my email. I think we can.
It's good if you take one of them with you so that you don't take one.
There's someone talking. I think it will be easy to keep it up. So write to me or write to the ATBC through the website. We will try to set up this thematic session, I think, in the next few weeks, and then it will be available. And for the next meeting, we can have something similar like this time, or something more technical, whatever, dealing with photography. And don't forget that we have, for those who still feel like it, go grab yourself a beer or a coffee or whatever, and we can meet in 20 minutes or so for a chat just about photography or whatever. We can just sit together and talk if you want.
Okay, and sorry I won't be there, but I wish you all the best in that chat. I wish I could be there. I just have to work now. It's early for me. All right.
Okay, thank you everybody then. Thanks for your input, for your questions, for your photos, and for being here with us. Thanks a lot.